Hey everyone, HK Sniper here. So in the last video I had covered very briefly in a Reenactor rant about how Germans handle their weapons. And very surprisingly, I found out through another means, just another discussion on Facebook, to be honest, a lot of German reenactors have no clue how to properly handle their weapon. And like I said, it surprised me. It is something I did include in that rant that I felt was kind of common, but I didn't think it was as widespread as I originally thought when I made that video. So I decided to throw something together here real quick and provide some visual examples on how Germans handled their rifles on the field. And the primary basis of this and why they did it was all part of their training. It was how they were trained to handle their weapon. It had more to do with an at-ready position in case you had to go prone. It made the weapon more available instead of landing on top of it where it would not be easily accessible. So, if you were interested in looking more into that, there's a lot of information out there. But like I said, this is going to be more of a visual representation, and I don't really want to dig too much into the history of it at the moment because that would take a lot of time. So anyways, I'm going to include some pictures of myself utilizing this primary hold, other reenactors using this primary hold, and also wartime pictures. We'll throw in some wartime pictures in here so you can see this represented in the actual environment that it was seen. So the primary means was handling your rifle in one hand at the middle, usually at the middle bolt, the cross bolt right there, and that was the center of balance for the rifle. So you would carry it there in one hand down at the side, and that would aid in the, like I said, the training elements that were placed into that. You saw them carrying their weapon like this, moving tactically. You saw them carrying it like this, just walking around if they didn't have it slung. This was a sort of at-ready position. It may not look like it, but you can shoulder that weapon very quickly and fire off accurate fire. And if need be, you can hit the dirt real quick, and since you're not landing directly on top of your rifle, that rifle is ready to fire in a good position on your right side, easily shouldered, and it makes a lot of sense. You just have to practice it and actually experience it. And it does take a little bit of muscle memory. You have to kind of beat some old habits out and give it a shot. So like I said, these are some visual representations of that. And interestingly, I have found another means that they handled their weapons and carried their weapons when they were not slung. And kind of a lack of a better term to name this, I've kind of named this the sportsman's hold, the hunter's hold. And I believe that has to do a lot with their history. And that means the history of that particular soldier. You don't see it in large numbers, but you do see it in enough numbers that it was at least somewhat prevalent. And this goes for both sides of the conflict. I see a lot of US GI soldiers carrying it like this, and I do have some photo examples of that. And basically this is a hold down, it's right underneath your armpit, tucked downwards towards the crook of your arm. And you're kind of cradling the rifle. And this was a very common means for hunters to handle their weapons. You see this a lot in paintings. You see this a lot in old photos. I'm going to include some of those old photos and paintings. And even in modern times, you see a lot of guys who are up there in age who still do trap shooting and hunting. They still continue to handle their weapons like that. And you look at a lot of the pictures back then, it was very common. And I kind of put two and two together. I don't think this was a training element. I think this was a comfort element that kind of went back on how that particular soldier handled his firearm comfortably through his earlier portion of his life before he entered this conflict. So, you see this a lot more prevalent up to 60s, 70s than in modern times. It's kind of disappeared into the more modern holds that you see. And I have included some pictures of how Americans, in particular, carry their weapons, and these will be showing up through here. They did carry them in particular ways. You kind of it's their at ready position was a little bit different, but obvious on the field. And this is actually one way, at least with our unit, we really pushing our unit to kind of carry your weapon realistically. We can identify who's friend or foe typically at a distance simply by how they carry their weapon. And this can help you out on the field as well if you're attending a tactical event. As long as you know everyone with you, and everyone on the Germans are carrying their weapons right, you can identify those guys. If you can't pick out their uniforms for whatever reason, if they're at a distance or the visibility is poor. And it kind of goes a long way at public events. People do get curious about it a little bit, not so much. It's kind of it's an unseen factor for the most part. But most of all, it helps your impression. It makes it more accurate. And you're kind of producing the mannerisms of that time and of the nation that you're representing. And a lot of the little stuff goes a long way. It goes a real long way. So that's all for now. Hopefully this helps out. Like I said, it's just a little visual representation. I encourage German reenactors to practice this, gain experience with it. A lot of the training manuals are available online. I said this in a previous video. German manuals. Just look it up. Translated German manuals on Google. Should be one of the first ones that pops up. Real good guys that work on those. And there's a lot of information included inside those books. And I encourage look into those. So that's all for now. We'll come up with some more topics here in the near future. Probably some more tutorials. I definitely want to start doing some video tutorials. I would love to do something like that. We'll see about working and getting something like that set up with the unit. And probably should look towards here in a couple weeks. We're going to be going to Bedford, Pennsylvania. It's a tactical battle. And we're going to try to either do some sort of like a live stream of that, maybe. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it on here as a live stream. I may end up utilizing Periscope. And if so, I'll kind of toss up where that's going to be. And you can kind of check out something a little bit live. If not, we'll just film some of it and kind of post it up. It's a great event. It's a mixture of an Eastern and Western Front event. There's Russian units there and Commonwealth. Not so much, but there's USGIs out there. I believe there is a couple Commonwealth that pop up out there. But it's a great all-around event, and we'll be out there here in a couple weeks, actually. So that's all for now. I know I said that probably 3 times now, but we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.